Good to see everyone. Hopefully you're enjoying Smokies. I apologize for no food for you, but maybe we can do that next time. But before we get started, a great day, 170 plus faculty, and it was Faculty Appreciation Day today, and that's very, very big, and it's very important to say thank you for all that they do, and not just for our football team, but for our entire student body. So was very excited, obviously, about today, and great to have them here. Going in today, obviously, practice number 3, full pads for the first time, and sat down and really had a checklist of the things that I felt we needed to get accomplished. I knew they were probably maybe unrealistic, but as a coach, your standard, your expectations are very high. I wanted to see how we could practice together with pads in terms of staying up our practice etiquette from going from all 3 tempos, which are tag, which are thud, and then tackle. So it's the first time as a football team. Our players are really exposed since last year to those 3 different tempos. And then D&D conscience, playing the game. And those are one of the things is from first down to second down to third down in playing situational football to see how we could continue to do that when the pads go on. And then just our overall style of play, our toughness, our mentality, but also the retention of fundamentals in a physical environment. A lot of times when you put the pads on for the first time, you really forget your fundamental basis that you've worked hard on all off season, then into practice 1 and practice 2. We have a long ways to go with this football team. I like their mentality. I like their approach to practice, but we must become a much more physical football team. And that was evident today, particularly in the offensive and defensive lines. We can't use the excuse of missing 10 individuals. Everyone's responsible for their own toughness, their own self-determination, and we have a long ways to go, but it's kind of what's expected after practice 3. Our overall toughness from a physical standpoint, from a mental standpoint, and from an emotional standpoint. I'm looking forward to grading the film. I think we'll have numerous teaching opportunities. The one individual who I thought really stepped up and really made his presence felt was Shy Tuttle. I thought he had a very, very productive, a very good first day. Had an unbelievable interception with the tip football and then finishes off with making the catch as well. It was great to see Alvin Kamara out there. But again, we must continue to grow every day, every practice, every session in the weight room is critical for our overall development. So I'll answer any questions you may have.
Kind of Ferguson talked about wanting to settle in at left tackle. Do you see that as his home throughout the fall and everything?
We'll continue to move him around. Just again, we spoke about at the beginning of spring, and it'll be an ongoing theme as we continue to progress, is finding the best 5 individuals. And Kyler gives us great flexibility up front. He can play guard, he can play tackle. But again, for us, it's finding the right mix, the best 5 that plays winning football together.
What did you really like about Shy? Was it his physical ability, or was he just locked in mentally? I guess
All of that. He came off the football. You could see the disruptive quickness. You could see the explosiveness. You could see the use of his hands. The thing I really liked about it, you could see his competitive nature. You could see his competitive character and his confidence, and he's very, very athletic. You could see instincts when the pads came on now, because when you're in no pads, it's 2 or 3 steps up front, and the magic happens on the second, third efforts. That's when you really find out. That's when you learn how to finish plays, and you could see that instinctfulness coming out in him.
With so many linemen on both sides of the ball, just how difficult is it to kind of work on being more physical when
Right.
you have to worry about bodies? And
Yeah. It is a challenge, but you can never use it as an excuse. I think of it, and we all think of it as an opportunity. It's a tremendous opportunity, but you just don't develop toughness or a physicality just in team and 11-on-11 settings. It may be one-on-ones. It could be as simple as in drill work. So there's a lot that goes into the physical makeup of practice. I think our players are trying. Again, I like their effort. I like their mentality. I like their overall approach. It's just getting back to playing football. And those are all things that you expect in practice 3. Now, if we're having the same conversation next week and the following week, then I'll be concerned. But it's nothing to be concerned about. But right now, after practice 3, you ask me my thoughts. Those are my thoughts, is we have to be a much more physical football team. And again, we're limited a little bit on the perimeter of our offense as well. But I do like a lot of the things that our 3 quarterbacks did as well today.
How big of a spring is this for Brett Kendrick, and what have you seen with him so far?
Brett Kendrick, very big spring for him. And I've really liked his overall approach. I've liked his demeanor. He's really dedicated himself to the weight room, and you can see that. He's an individual now, again, going in year 3 of our football program. You're really starting to see the maturation process. Again, so every practice is critical for him, but I've been exceptionally encouraged by him.
I think the way he put it was that at times been pretty hard on him, coaching him up and kind of written him saying, get tougher, you're an offensive lineman, get tougher. And what's your mindset, I guess, with your experience of going through with players like that and kind of seeing how they respond?
Yeah, he's responded. He's shown great resiliency. He's put his head down. He's continued to work. And he's going to be rewarded for that. He needs to just continue to work and treat every day as it's the most important day, and working to be the best person, best player he can possibly be, and he's done that. So I've been really, really, like I said, encouraged by everything that I've seen from Brett.
Coach, with Alvin, was his explosiveness, quickness, did that show up today in the pads?
Yeah, you could see it. Again, sometimes the mind is still tying the feet up a little bit with pass protections and different run schemes and also route running as well. But you can see the natural instincts. You can see you can see the toughness, the way he runs the football, and the ability to miss. And, we're not in great football shape yet right now. We've gotten bigger and we've gotten stronger. But, again, we're not in August shape, but that's to be expected. But you see where he has a lot of potential.
How could his running style complement Jalen?
Well, you said a great word. I think they're complementary backs to each other. I think they complement each other with their different styles of play. And you look at any great program or any great offense, they have more than one marquee back. They have a stable of backs, and we haven't had that luxury here. We're still lacking depth at the running back position, but I see Jalen and Elvin really feeding off of each other.
We kind of saw what Cortez could do on special teams last year. What's the next step for him on defense special?
Next step is working, kind of like the Jalen Reeves-Maben. Next step is, now really working into the defensive side of things at the will linebacker position. And again, he came in here as a safety, so he's still learning how to play fast at the linebacker position and trusting your run reads. And we talked about the eye discipline, and that's one of the other things we have to continue to get better at as a football team across the board, all 8 positions, is our eye discipline and our eyes, and where do we place our eyes, and trusting our reads so we can play fast. And I think Cortez is going through that maturation phase right now, but I've been encouraged by him as well.
Which I know guys kind of develop it at different rates, but he was a guy that came in and maybe didn't have to play a bunch of snaps on defense or offenses. Is maybe the development where he comes in and plays a specific role as a freshman and then kind of develops from there. Is that maybe, as a coach, a preferred kind of development path, trajectory that you guys are hoping for?
Yeah, every player develops differently. They develop basically at their own pace. But you'd like for an individual to come in and really impact your special teams, get the playing experience, maybe get some situational football, get some quality live game repetitions in, and then their second, third year really be able to take off. And each position group is different based on your numbers and what you need. And also, the mind is obviously very, very critical, the mental part of playing football. And that's why, to me, it's the most difficult sport out there, because not only do you have to rely on your mindset and the mental part of it and your football intelligence and your football IQ, but you have to play at a high pace, at a high level of physicality as well. And that's what makes it challenging. But if you would prefer, you'd like to have a process build up with every player in your program.
How much does it help Cortez to have Jalen kind of there as a model, but also how much does it make it harder for him to get on the field as fast as Jalen did?
Invaluable. Jalen has been a great mentor to Cortez, and they kind of laugh how they're following the same transition. And I love Jalen Reeves-Maben. I tell you what, he's being a leader. It's important to him. He's invested in Tennessee football, and he's made himself better in the weight room. And he's a leader of our football team, and he holds others around him accountable. He's really, really competitive, great competitive makeup. And again, he's been a great mentor for Cortez of going through that maturation phase.
Is there a scenario where they could be on the field at the same time in that 4-2-5?
There is, again, it's based on the offensive scheme that you're playing. But again, Jalen is a very cerebral player. He understands really all three positions, Sam, Mike, and Will, and that's invaluable, as we continue to move forward. But there may be a point of time where you see both of them on the field.
Butch, how did Dylan Bates look back in pads for the first time?
It's good to have Dylan back. Dylan's worked really, really hard. Again, he's a first-year player, and that's the way we're kind of approaching it with him, but also playing linebackers like riding a bike for him too. You can see some of his instincts start to kick in, but again, it's the overall developmental process that he's going through right now, but it's great to have him back.
What's Gavin Bryant need to do to get into the mix?
Consistency, the football intelligence part of it. Gavin stood out a little bit today. When Gavin knows his assignments and he knows what he's doing, and when he plays with confidence, he attacks things downhill. Gavin's a very explosive football player, and I liked some of the things I saw from him today. And again, when we talk about Cortez, you talk about Gavin, or you talk about Dylan, we also need, again, them to make their impact on special teams too. And when you look at the monumental change that we've made from year one to year two in the growth and development of our special teams, a lot of that was from younger players that are all back, and it's understanding your role and doing your job and understanding that responsibility. So we also now, when you add Gavin Bryant to your special teams, he needs to continue to be a big-time special teams player for us. Devon Swafford, we challenged him as well in the special teams game. And Dylan Bates as well, as these are individuals that can run. They're very athletic, and they're very explosive.
What's your evaluation of Josh Smith so far? What's it been like? What kind of rust, I guess, is he dealing with?
Josh has a workmanlike mentality every time he steps into the building, from film study, the classroom setting, to out on the field. And he's making progress, and he's getting back into football shape. We ask a lot of our receivers, the inordinate amount of running, the inordinate amount of reps, especially being down in numbers this spring. But Josh is a team player. He shows up every day to work, and he continues to progress.
How's that competition at corner opposite Cam going?
Well, Emmanuel Mosley is undergoing further examination. He may have mono right now, so we're going through that. So Emmanuel wasn't able to practice today. So Cam is getting valuable repetitions at the nickel position. We just, again, the D-back position, the corner position, we don't have a lot of luxury right now. We have to make sure that we don't inundate Cam with a lot of repetitions. And again, we do a daily rep total of total reps in practice. Total reps on special teams. We chart everything, and then repetitions, and he's over 2,000 reps from last year. So we have to make sure that we're very, very conscientious about that we don't ask Cam right now to do too much. But Cam is, again, he's an intelligent football player, and he's very, very competitive.
Take two more, please.
How beneficial for the defense if he does wind up at nickel to have a playmaker like that in the box or close to the
You need it. That's the world that we live in. Very rarely are you in base defense in today's world. You're in nickel and you're in dime. And that's one of the things that we really felt set back our growth and development as a defense, is we've not had the luxury to play any of our dime packages because of the lack of depth, at the defensive back position. We've tried to really concentrate on that through the recruiting process, particularly in this year's incoming class. But again, it's developing that overall depth. But you saw what Justin Coleman, we were a much better defense last year because we had the luxury of moving Justin Coleman to nickel. And nickel is a critical position in your defense. It's one of the most important positions on your defense, but it's also one of the most challenging because what you ask of that nickel. He's got to be able to play zone coverage. He has to be able to play man coverage and usually lock up on the fastest receiver that's in the slot. But he also has to have the physicality to set the edge of your defense, be able to win at the junction point and get off blocks. And sometimes there's a tight end split out there. So it takes a little bit different player to play at the nickel position.
Which we've not talked to you since Coleman Thomas's situation. I guess, is there anything to add to his status?
No, we're very aware of that, and that'll be ongoing, and that'll be daily.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.